a conversation with my aunt. She is 66 years old, and I'm going to ask her a few questions about how was her childhood, what it was like before all this technology. Yes, thank you. So, when was you born, Aunt Ruth?
I was born in November 16th. I was born November 16th, 1953. And I was born in Camden at West Jersey Hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have 10 sisters and 8 brothers.
Okay.
hmm
So, so you
And we lived in a place called Centerville, which is in South Camden. Yeah. It was called the Projects. But it was not called the Projects because of what it is. It was called the Projects because it was a government project that made low income housing for 2 parent families. We had a mom and a dad. And they both were, and one of them worked. My mom didn't work, but my dad did. But most of the people in the neighborhood had a mom and a dad. But the income wasn't high enough to go and buy certain houses. So they made affordable housing. And that's where we lived. It was beautiful. We had front yard, backyard. We had 4 bedrooms, bathroom, kitchen. And we had to maintain our yards. We had to put our trash out properly. And we had to make sure that our screens, in the summer we had screens. We didn't have any raggedy screens. It was virtually just a pretty neighborhood where we lived.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
hmm
So, what school did you go to?
I went to, for elementary, from kindergarten to 5th grade, I went to Charles Sumner School, which is on 8th and Van Hook. And from there, in my 6th grade, I went to Mickle School. And then after Mickle, I went over to Hatch Junior High School from 7th to the 9th. And then from 9th to 12th, I went to Camden High School.
All right. So,
Yes.
what was your favorite TV show growing up?
Actually, I had quite a few, but I can't really remember what my favorite TV show was. But I know I liked a lot of TV shows where they had a nice house. I don't look at a program if the house is junky and stuff. Like it was a show named Roseanne. I never watched it because they had a junky house. So if whatever my favorite program was, they had a nice house.
Okay.
Yeah. So I could have been Leave It to Beaver, because I did like the way his mom dressed, and he had a mom and a dad, had a nice house and everything, And always wanted to grow up like that, get married, stay home, take care of my house while my husband worked. So it could have been Leave It to Beaver.
So, did y'all have like a color TV?
Actually, we didn't have a color TV. What we had was a TV, and we put this paper over it. You're not going to believe this, but it's true. It's just like this. It sounds funny. I'm sorry for laughing. But you put the film over the TV. It was like rainbow, and you would be, that's what they did back then. They actually sold it. And you put it over across the front of the tube, and it would pretend you had color TV, but it would be just like a rainbow. And it would be red, green, and like an orange color. But it really wouldn't be in color. You was just putting the film over the TV. We had black and white. I like black and white. I still watch it now. TCM, I love old movies, black and white. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, did you play any sports in high school? Any activities?
In high school, yes, I ran. Well, I like all sports, but I didn't play a sport like to go to school off of. But I ran track.
Yeah.
And I always was very good at gym also. But in high school, I took business and office practice.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and something nice happened to me in high school. I joined Junior Achievement, and Junior Achievement is where young uh, business people who are interested in business work with people from the Campbell Soup Company.
Uh-huh.
And what we did was we started business, and we come up with a product and everything, and we came up with something called the Apple Air. And I was vice president of Junior Achievement, so
Okay.
I got to go to Atlantic City for a weekend and meet people from all over the United States that was in Junior Achievement.
That's
I
nice.
had a wonderful, wonderful time. Yeah, but that's what I took up in school. And guess what? Today I can't hardly type. I took up business and office practice, and I can barely type. But that's what I like, business. Because even when I started in 1971, I went to college. I took up financing at Rutgers and urban studies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what year did you graduate high school?
Well, when I first got out of high school, I wanted to get a job. So I went to the unemployment office. You go up there and you take a sort of an aptitude test. So when I took an aptitude test, they told me my best skills was to be in business.
Mhm.
So after I took the test, I was offered a job in Washington, D.C.
Did you take it? You take it?
No, my mom didn't want me to go away, so I didn't take that job. But if I did, I'd probably be married to a senator today. I know it. I always thought I was going to marry a guy with a little afro and glasses.
Mhm.
Yeah, but my husband have a little afro and glasses, but he's not a senator.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
hmm
so what was your first job?
My first job was at the bank. It was called South Jersey Trust, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, my first job was there, and I worked in something. I was a teller. I think I was a teller. Yeah. I was or did I work in transit? I can't remember, but I know my first job was at the bank.
Uh-huh.
And then after the bank, I started taking banking classes. And then I went to another bank, which was First People's, and I worked there for 17 years. And I started in transit, and I worked up to corporate trust. But then after 17 years, the banks merged. Another
Mhm.
bank came in, and I didn't want to work in Philly. That's where I had to go. So I had to go back to school again. And so when I went back to school again, I went for human services. And while I was in school, I did a work study, and I observed a mental health person. I followed him around, and I, documented everything he did in the course of, I think it was a week. And so I ended up getting a job there and staying for 20 years. Yeah,
Okay.
working there. Yeah. Oh, and in the midst of that too, I also was offered a job with Internal Revenue. I did a oral interview with them, and they said they wanted to hire me on the spot, and I was going to travel around to different cities. They told me, and just do different business income tax. But they told me that you would have to be away from your home weekends, one weekend out of a month, and I couldn't do it because my husband had the best job, better than me, and I had boys, 3 boys, so I didn't take that either.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So, when growing up, did you experience any racial?
Oh yeah, where we lived at, we in our project,
Uh-huh.
on the other side of where we lived was these apartments called Sheridan Apartments. We
Mhm.
weren't allowed to go over there. All whites lived over there.
Uh-huh.
Like you could serve your papers over there, or that's it.
Uh-huh.
But you couldn't go over there to play. You couldn't do anything. Then when we had to go to school, I had to go walk down Kane Avenue in Camden
Uh-huh.
to get to our school. Was 3 miles away. But we couldn't go through the neighborhood because we had neighborhoods that was all Polish or all Italian. So you had to walk down the main road. You couldn't go through their neighborhoods because they would sick their dogs and stuff on you. And you wouldn't believe this. Not one person helped you. A big German Shepherd coming after you. You went up on somebody's porch, and you might be met with another one. So we just walked straight down Kane Avenue. We didn't go through the neighborhoods. I think the only time we went through there is later in the years, and we trick or treated. That's it. But far as going in their neighborhoods, no, because some of the men and my brother, he worked for a huckster. A huckster is a man that go around and sell fruit in different neighborhoods, and the older men, Caucasian men, would actually try to fight them, and they was young boys, and nobody would do anything about it, So we knew where we stood. We stayed in our neighborhood. And we liked it. We had a good neighborhood. We had everything. We had a playground that had swings, big swings for big kids, little swings. We had a pool. So we didn't really need to go outside of our neighborhood to do anything. We did it right there. And also in our neighborhood, if you had families that didn't make enough money, they had something called Drop a Buck. And they would go around to each house, knock on the door, and you drop a buck in there, and they would do it during Christmas and stuff. And people that need food or whatever, they would take it to them, take them grocery, toys, or whatever. So, and then we had the rescue mission. We went there also, and they would give us, toys at Christmas and stuff. So we really didn't need to go and venture into other neighborhoods. We stayed right there, and we had baseball. We had everything. I can't say what we didn't have, because we played baseball, we played football, we jumped rope, we played tag at night, and so we had a good life. We had a good life there. Yeah, yeah. Swimmer. So that's another myth about blacks not being able to swim, because they can. The pool was crowded. You're scared to stand up for your own rights. In other words. Because you don't know if it's going to be an issue or not. And that's what I see now. And I just think that there's a lot of racial profiling of police, with black boys. Because I've seen a lot of things in my town that Caucasian kids do. And guess what? They just say, oh, that's Jim's boy like that. And he's going down the road. But let the black kid do the same thing, and guess what? Going to nail him to the wall. Trust me. Yep, yes indeed. And I noticed too that in the town, because I lived in a town where it was predominantly white when I moved there, their kids did a lot of things, but they paid for their kids to get out of trouble. Whereas we didn't have that, or we thought that maybe our kids should get the punishment because they shouldn't did the crime. Whereas they thought that, okay, I'm going to fix this. And maybe they said when they got home, the next time I don't want you to do this. But it seems like they always paid, for their kids to get out of trouble. I'm going to give $500 to the policeman fund or something like that. So when Johnny or Freddie got in trouble, the police, oh no, that's Harry's son over there. Let me talk to him. But whereas you, Aaron, you and your mom, they don't know who she is or nothing like that. Up, you going, hey, come on. He's going, take him in. Yep, and call his mom. She's going to have to pick him up. And if she's not here at a certain time, guess what? We're going to send him down to juvenile. And that's what I saw going on, because I used to be on the board of the, it's called, it's a juvenile board. When young kids did stuff in my town in Magnolia, they had a panel to see if they could come up with little ways that they could do jobs for the misdemeanor little things, that they did. So I did that for a year. But we hardly ever had any cases, so I gave that up. Yes.
All right. Before we wrap this little thing up. Do you like anything to say to my class?
Well, what I want to say is, these days and nowadays, what I like to see young people do is just be kind to each other. That's all. Nothing else. I don't care if you don't like a person. They don't have to know that. When you come in your classroom in the morning, you don't have to pick who you're going to say good morning to. Say good morning, everybody, and sit down. And if you don't know what's going on in class, ask somebody. Pick a buddy. Pick a study partner. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then if the teacher's teaching, don't interrupt her. If you don't know what's going on, wait till after class, like we used to do when we didn't want our friends to know we didn't get the math. We would wait till after class and go and ask the teacher for help. Don't interrupt the class and stuff, because the worst thing you can do is be dumb and loud. Nobody will ever be any wiser if you sat there and you were quiet and you went up after class and asked the teacher for help. You know? And another thing, respect the teacher. Respect the teacher. Nobody or nothing like that, or be loud or anything like that. And for goodness sake, stop fighting each other. And girls, stop fighting each other. You know?
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst thing, I think. We went to school, we had a few fights, but most of the time we knew if we was outside fighting, my mom would say, first, what you fighting for? It was, you know, and if it was justified. But nowadays, they fight for no reason. Fight because you got a blue weave. Fight because you got new sneakers. That's not anything to fight for, you know?
Yeah.
So just try to be better students, better citizens. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, fight for some more education. Fight for what is going to do you some good.
All right.
You know? Yep.
Yep.
And if you see an old person, smile at them, because they right on.
Okay. All right, Alberta. Thanks for that.
Okay. All right.